Yeah.
Yeah, we here? Did we
That's
make
right.
it this time?
Now we're live, baby. What is going on? It's your boy Preston, Fat Samurai Guy, back again with two of the livingest legends of this. Living legends. Up first, the commentary beast, the master remaster, Frank Djeng. Welcome back, brother. Looking good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Loving
Another
the
year.
haircut. Yeah, man.
Mhm.
Representing that Comic-Con. That's right. Superhero Kung Fu Extravaganza panel. And y'all know him. You love him. That's right. Here he is, the award-winning Hall of Famer. That's right. Ric Meyers. Kung Fu said to himself, welcome back, Rick.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Welcome back. And we are doing another best and worst of the year video. We had a lot of fun last year. And I got my bootleg list on my phone over here. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the worst and best. And I believe Rick will be throwing in a couple of TV series.
I don't know where you're getting
fun.
that. I'm looking at my list. I don't see any TV series, but I could.
Okay.
But I don't
see
any
you sure?
in my list.
Well, we'll get to it. You say yay or nay if I put up the wrong image.
I mean, I've got some Netflix films, but I don't have any Netflix TV shows.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll throw it in. I'll show you, and you just say yay or nay. It goes in or it doesn't go. But it's good to see all the legends watching right now. Adam Shaji gave us a recommendation here, Rick. Marco, an Indian action film. It's bloody. So we have not covered that, but if it's on Netflix, Adam, let us know. Michael Gonzalez in the house. Oh yeah. Here we go. Certified Badass channel member Heather in the house. Good to see you. Hope you had a great Christmas as well. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. And there it is. All right, Takeshi in the house. He's been looking forward to this. There we go. Samuel Stokes, Brian Sanchez. Oh yeah. All the legends are watching right now. So we're going to jump right into it here. Oh, yeah. We're going to start with the worst, baby. Oh, yeah.
Which is the best.
With the worst.
The best is the worst.
Yes.
I don't have any worst because, I just don't watch movie that suck. So.
Well, you may have one. You may have a couple of my worsts. So it'll work out.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Frank's good. Frank's good at avoiding bad movies. No, unfortunately, I can't help it.
He just loves them. He just he's going to be listing some stuff that I think is terrible, but he thinks it's great.
Yeah, which usually happens every year. There we go.
Between the two of us, we're one person.
Oh, here he is, a co-host of the action film Autopsy. Anubis in the house. He goes, I don't think there's enough room on this planet for the total badassery. That is the three gentlemen in this
good assery, great assery,
great assery.
Only if you were here, Anubis, then the internet would explode. Yes, but it's good to see. You got Damo in the house. There we go. He said, "It's amen, Frank." I tried to avoid the trash too.
There you go.
I don't.
There we go. The best movie was The Crow, better than the original. OGP already trolling. It's good to see you. Good to see you, brother. All right, we're going to start with the Samurai Guy's worst. Me and Rick are going to go back and forth here.
Now,
all right. This is controversial, but go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
Well, my question to you, Fat, is your list from the best worst to the worst? Or
yes.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Because my list is just by month. I'm just doing it by the stuff because they're all equally bad or good. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to get into this.
You go.
Let's see. Ban OGP right away. For the Crow remark. All right, here we go. This is controversial, but I love everyone that's a part of this project. I'm still huge fans after I watched this.
Yeah.
But it was such a huge disappointment. I can't help it to put at the very bottom. It's not the worst of the worst, but Scott Adkins, One More Shot.
Oh yeah.
I got to put it there. I'm sorry.
Well, you know the story of that, right?
I know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Tell me the story.
Well, there was a lot of behind the scenes issues. They ran out of time. They ran out of time. And I usually am very forgiving and I grade movies on a curve. I just have to be honest. I was really disappointed. I hope, they'll, improve with the third film. But I mean, when you advertise Michael Jai White as the big baddie and then he disappears for the rest of the movie just to show up, hey, how's it going? I'm Michael Jai White. Just show up out of nowhere and have the worst one-on-one fight with Scott Adkins in history. I mean, how do you expect a big, huge fan like me to react? So again, and then one of the worst villains ever is in this movie. So again, it's not the worst of the worst, but I was disappointed with One More Shot. All right, Rick, what you got?
We talk, by the way, everybody, if you want to go back and see the episode of Action Film Autopsy where we talk about One More Shot, we get all the background. And again, this is a perfect example of why I love this kind of awful, bad, worst movie, because there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
I always, for my situation, I have just become, I want to be the cinematic Sherlock.
Yes.
Whenever I see, and we'll be talking about that today with some of these worsts, and we have been talking about it all year. Whenever I see a terrible movie, I want to know why. And these things are so obvious in terms of why they're bad. So it's interesting. My first of my worst list is unbelievable. Argyle. It's apparently filmmakers have gotten so lost in the egomaniacal world of Hollywood that black is white, good is bad. I mean, he had total freedom to make this movie, and this is what he makes. And I've heard several people say, too smart for its own good, too stupid for its own good, too much freedom. But it's one of these movies which I enjoy immensely because it's so ridiculous. But I'm able to watch the whole movie like, every scene is like, what?
Yeah.
What? Who let this through? But this is also showing that the industry is having some problems now. They let stuff like this get through. So yeah, Argyle is a hoot.
I even forgot that came out.
I know. Yeah. Until you mentioned it, I totally forgot about the movie.
It's Woot. It's worst hoot. It's the worst hoot. Woot. That's Argyle. Next on your list, Fat.
Next on my list is Lady Fat's a huge, big Three Musketeers fan. I mean, she likes a lot of the movies, old school movies, even the one with Gene Kelly was in. She's a big, huge fan of those. And they did a two-parter recently, and it looked epic. The first film had so much potential. It was violent, like the sword play. It was more drama than action, but the potential's there, and we couldn't wait for part 2.
Yes,
and we were screaming for it to end. They set up a part 3, and from what I'm hearing, it's dead.
Not happening.
It's dead. And it's got Ava Green in it. It's just got talented people involved, and it was so disappointing. Less action, and it just really fell off the rails. And we were like, well, so much for that. So, yeah, Three Musketeers, Milady Part 2 is my next one.
And I bet it's the same reason as your previous film. I bet they had obviously they had behind the scenes. My second, and this is a wonderful example for all you guys as to why this is not Frank's worst list. This is not Fat's worst list. I think only this show, actually, right, it is a TV show. I forgot. I thought of it as a movie, but it is actually a Netflix TV show. This would only be on my worst list because of my issues, and that is House o' Ninja. I don't call it House of Ninjas. It is. And by the way, just like my first, I was telling you, I was interviewed the other day, and the same problem with one of the problems with House of Ninjas was the same problem with my first martial art movie book. They insisted that I put ninjas in the title. And I said, by the way, if you are forcing me to put ninjas in the title, understand that the plural of ninja is ninja. So it should be House of Ninja.
Right.
And they went, well, I don't care what it should be. We're putting in ninjas because we don't want to confuse our audience. So here's this show called House of Ninjas. And even though it was supposedly made in Japan, it obviously wasn't, or it had the famous, reverse egg syndrome. You know what the reverse egg syndrome is? It's yellow on the outside, white in the middle. In other words,
bamboo syndrome.
Yeah. What's it called?
Bamboo.
Okay, you call it bamboo. So it's one of these things where it was obviously like the live action Mulan, which was one of the worst of, I think, last year or whatever year it came out. It was obviously had a bunch of white people who knew nothing about the subject matter. And let's just cater to that stupid ninja crowd.
So this was not shot in Japan. Shot where? Little Tokyo.
No, it was shot in Japan with Japanese.
Okay.
But again, there were so many, and if any of our viewers have seen it, if you liked it, let me know, because I was just kind of like, I didn't watch that show like this. Like, I watched that show like, oh, every couple of scenes. Oh,
Right. Yeah.
because my best-selling novels of all time was my double tetralogy of the Ninja Master novels, which sold 250,000 copies. So I went to Japan and researched Ninja, and I was very proud to be as part of one of the audio commentaries I didn't do with you, Frank, was for the Shinobi no Mona movie, because I know Rick knows
Ninja.
Rick know Ninja.
Rick knows what kind of movies I usually like.
Yeah.
What I like this series, or even you think I would actually have some problems with it too, even though I like.
Well, no, you never know, because basically my problem is because I know more about Ninja than they do. So you might dig it. You let me know.
Okay.
But there's so many better things. We're going to be talking about the best list soon. So there's so many better things you can watch rather than this.
Okay. Next up for me, it's I think at this point, the most highest viewed Amazon Prime movie. I think it was a huge smash. There's a lot of people that love it. I got a kick out of some of it. I got a kick out of some of it. Some of it was entertaining, but it's so just utterly forgettable. As soon as you hit stop and turn it off, you may remember Conor McGregor in the movie a little bit, being Conor McGregor, but Roadhouse for me has to go here. And here's the thing. I am willing to separate my love and bias for the original and go in fresh and be like, all right, they're taking a property I love, I grew up with, let's see what they do with it. And I could see a couple of parts where the director was trying to do some things with the camera angles. But when your movie starts with Post Malone hitting a CGI person, not even a real stuntman, he's hitting a CGI person. And when you have green screen used behind the amazing martial artists and stuntmen and performers, you're taken away. It's like, come on, man, we're here for the fights. Now there's some good hits. There's some good moments.
There's one good fight.
Yes, I agree. And but the love interest was terrible. It's so boring and bland, and I just did not give a shit. When you take out the personality that the original had, whether you like the original or not, you remember the original. You remember lines from the original. Pain don't hurt. You remember all that stuff. You remember Sam Elliott. You remember him ripping the throat out of one of the villains. You don't remember anything. And I'm going to come back to the exact same thing I just said to another movie that's on this list.
Well,
go ahead, Rick.
I didn't think it was as bad as you, but this is how I watched that. I watched that like this. The opening, again, like so many things I've seen lately, the opening fight is good. His first fight in the Roadhouse.
Yes.
Was humorous and smartly done. So I was saying, this is going to be great.
Which came, I think, 45 minutes into the movie when we finally got a good fight.
Yeah. And but then the rest of it fell apart. Next on your mine. It's your turn. Terrible one. Mm-hmm. Well, of course. Basically, I should do this as a triple feature because it was a triple feature. But my next one is in order of release, Madam Web. But also Morbius, and also what's the latest one? Craven. I might as well put them all three together, although they came out at different times during the year. But basically, they were all Sony sort of going. Sony, whoever's in charge of this aspect of Sony, it is very clear that they have Kevin Feige and the filmmakers of John Watts. The filmmakers of the Spider-Man trilogy, they have them on speed dial. And while they were making these three movies, every day on speed, they would call up Kevin Feige and John Watts and the other guy who worked on the Spider-Man stuff, and also the animated Spider-Man ones too. And they would do this. They would be up on FaceTime, and they would look at each of them and do this. Yeah, my dear friend, the late Mike Robb, had a comic book store chain in Connecticut called Dream Factory. He had it until some major investor came in and said, I want to become your partner and make this into a nationwide chain. And then that guy did essentially what the Sony guys are doing or trying to do, which is basically he locked the door of the nursery. He went into Mike's baby, the thing that he created, and he strangled it to death in front of Mike. And that explained to me certain psychologies of egomaniacal entertainment industry. This is what happens in the entertainment industry. And you look at Madame Web, and especially Madame Web, you can see clearly that it was sabotaged in the editing room and in the sound room, it turns out. So I said, there's no way they did this by accident. All the people I knew in Hollywood when I was working out in Hollywood always said, oh no, it's just all sorts of other things. No, you guys are doing this shit on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reasons you're doing it. And again, as I was told by the vice president of CBS Television, Hollywood is not about money, it's about ego.
Of course.
So there you go. So Madame Web, we'll get, and I repeat it for Craven and Morbius.
So Craven was that fascinatingly bad.
Oh yeah, I mean that was another. They had the star.
Not even the action was good.
It might have been good because this is something else I discovered that, like in all the G.I. Joe movies, the producer sabotages the action in the editing room because I've talked to the choreographers.
Right.
And the choreographers go, we slaved on that fight scene. And then we go to the premiere and we see that it has been torn to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at, what was the last G.I. Joe one? I think it was one of the worst of
Rise
last
of
year.
Snake Eyes? Snake Eyes?
Snake Eyes.
Right.
Look at those fight scenes. It is clear what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They cut every single action in the fight scene before they were able to complete the action.
Yeah.
And that is textbook example of how to destroy a fight scene.
Preach it.
It was choreographed by Kenji Tanigaki.
I know.
So
I know.
Be that as it may, we're hyping back.
Do you think the fact that Craven was a bomb basically means that they're not going to choose Aaron Taylor for James Bond?
Well, you know the problem with James Bond at the moment. I think at this point, the press desperately wants somebody to be chosen as James Bond, and I don't think Eon, which is Everything or Nothing, which is the James Bond company, was ever seriously considering him yet, because she doesn't want someone known. She was very happy with what they did with the unknowns.
Okay.
So I think that they're going to go for an unknown when and if they can do it, because Sony is acting like, not Sony, who is it? Amazon, MGM is acting like Sony.
All right.
Next on your hit parade.
Next on mine, I know a lot of people enjoyed it and loved it. I was just yelling end. Because when I watch a Ghostbusters movie, and at the very end,
who loved that?
Let me rephrase it. It's let me call it Phoebe's Busters, because that's what the movie should be called, Phoebe's Busters.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name? The kid from Stranger Things. Hey, we're just gonna stick you up in the attic for the whole movie and just hang out with Slimer. We got nothing for you to do. At the very end of the movie, I liked when the villain showed up. I was like, ooh. This is gonna. I like the villain looked cool in Frozen Empire. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be all. Oh, this movie's over now. Oh,
yeah.
I was like, as soon as he showed up, they defeated him immediately, and I knew we were in trouble when all the old guards show up, all in the Ghostbusters outfits to fight the villain at the end, and they even put Janine for the first time ever. They made a big deal about it. Janine's in the Ghostbuster outfit just to do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Also,
and I was like, well, I'm done with this franchise. I'll just stick with the old school.
Right. And also having this final confrontation at the entrance, at the, at the building, it could have been much more grander. It could have been on a rooftop or whatever, like some landmark place. But no.
Well, I knew we were in trouble. I mean, I love the original Ghostbusters. It's one of my favorite movies. And so I've been watching these degenerate. And this one I thought might be, because again, they had a great cast. They hauled everybody back together again. And then in the very opening scene, where Paul Rudd and the family are driving around New York in the mobile and just making witticisms while they're threatening people's. I mean, they're driving like maniacs. There's not a serious line of dialogue, and also the moment where I sort of said, I think this is being produced by people with slasher movie mentalities, because they didn't make this to be good. They made it to see how much shit their audience would accept. Because
it's funny
they
you mentioned
purposely
that,
made this bad.
Something
There's a
comes
moment
later on my list.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
there's a perfectly they make Camille Nanjiani plays a character, and there is Bill Murray, one of the greatest comic personas and one of the greatest improv guys of all time. And Camille Nanjiani goes, "We're gonna die. We're all gonna die." And I looked directly at Bill and said, "Come on, Venkman, say what you should say." And what Venkman should have said was, of course we're going to die. Everybody dies.
Yeah.
That's why we're fighting ghosts, because the ghosts are proof that there's something after death. I mean, that's the easiest, most logical thing, and also a Venkman thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, Venkman basically looked at the camera and said, "I'm getting money for this. Fuck you guys."
Yeah, so that's mine. And one more last thing is we had it felt like 10 minutes with Winston trying to convince Ray, hey man, we're old. We don't ghost bust anymore. Just stop doing, what are you doing? Hanging out with these kids. What are you doing? You're old, you're done, you're retired. Hang up the proton pack. Call it a day, Ray. It felt like 10 minutes.
Awful.
And then literally we segue straight to the end of Winston running in, dressed up to fight ghosts. Oh, Jesus.
Let's stop talking about that. My next is the fabulous, one of the most original, inventive, worst movies of the year. A movie where they had to work hard to be worse than the original, and that is Rebel Moon 2.
Is this the theatrical and the director? I mean, theatrical. Is this the extended version as well?
I'm with Frank on this one. I would not go out of my way to see the extended version because, once you see the non-extended version, this is what they chose to do with the non-extended version. So basically it's kind of like, all right, so I'm going to watch the extended version to see this guy masturbate longer. I mean, it's shake your head like, wow. I mean,
yeah. And Frank, you hated Rebel Moon too, right? You didn't like it.
No.
Or you didn't even watch it.
I watched part 1. I didn't watch part 2.
And you were done.
You're lucky because 2 was worse.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Next up, I have, you mentioned it already. Really quick, Madam Web for me.
Right.
That's on my list. You did your Sherlock Holmes, behind the scenes on the Action Film Autopsy, and I was listening to you, and I was like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. And then knowing that and still going in to watch it with an open mind, I was like, oh, so you're going to show us these girls in the trailer in their outfits fighting crime, and then when you watch the movie, oh, it's just at the last 2 minutes of the film. That's it. They didn't do anything. I was so like, why did you show? Like, it was such a cock tease.
It's such a clear example of filmmakers having no respect for their audiences. It's kind of like, superhero people must be assholes. Science fiction people must be assholes.
Right.
Comic book people must be assholes. So this is good enough for garbage.
Yeah.
By the way, when I was working out in Hollywood in the 80s, these guys would just say this stuff at the cocktail parties.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's enough other people who don't listen to them, but apparently there's a lot more still left.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely fascinatingly bad.
Yep.
Especially with all the ADR scenes. I mean, you could totally tell. They keep showing the back of the villain's head, and he's spouting off like 5 minutes of dialogue.
And there's another thing that's very important to me, because again, when I worked out there and when I was on the sets in England and all the crew members are great. all the crew members are amazing. So the fact that the editing can be bad and the ADR can be bad, that means that has to be somebody above the line who's insisting, because the guys who work in this, the sound guys and the editors, would not allow this to happen. And they must have been sitting there crying as the producer is going, no, do it. Do it. Fuck up the ADR. Make it look fake. Make it look bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel terrible for them. I hope they can take their names off.
All right. It's your turn, Rick.
Oh, that's right. Well, speaking of a production crew trying to see just how bad their audience will accept things, The Acolyte.
Oh,
Started okay, started
Yeah.
promising. I mean, look at the cast. Look at all those lightsabers. Let's all do, come on, everybody let's pick up a pen and let's do the lightsaber scenes. Let's do the lightsaber scenes. That's it. Ooh, lightsabers. Does any of it make sense? Not at all. And this one, I think the producers, the filmmakers had their hearts in the right place, but they didn't understand their genre. What was the other movie lately where they made but they had no idea how to do the genre that we're doing? I guess it was the live action Mulan. But here the Acolyte is just like, yeah. It got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, to the point where I just threw up my hands and said, boy, you guys could have done it. And I just pray that Skeleton Crew doesn't turn out the same way.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody told me they enjoyed it. They watched Skeleton Crew. They hit me up, sent me a message. They said it was like Goonies in space.
It's good. So. Yeah, it's Goonies in space, and it's also Stranger Things in space. But also, they have to nail the landing, because the thing is that all these Disney shows just keep fucking up the landing.
Yeah.
Has any one of you seen Doom Prophecy?
No.
I was going to message you the other day, Frank. How is that show so far?
It's all right. It's a nice twist near the end. So, but it was only 6 episodes. The first season just 6 episodes. That's it. But is more. It's definitely set in a different universe, and it got some nice. The first 2 episodes are kind of boring, but then it got better by the 4th episode, and there's a great twist near in the final episode.
Well, there you go. All right.
Do you recommend it?
If you're a big fan of Doom, then I would recommend it. But if you're not, then skip it.
Next worst one, please.
Okay. Well, if we have to save some time here, Rick, if we have the same ones, we can both talk about it.
What is it?
Next up for me is Joker 2 Electric Boogaloo. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you're a channel member or join us over there on Patreon, me and Lady Fat are actually going to talk about our whole experience watching that movie from beginning to end with an open mind, accepting it that it's a musical, and going in with the open mind. And you'll find out tomorrow, if you guys, at 1 o'clock tomorrow, 1 p.m. But I'll let Rick do most of the talking here. But yeah, unfortunately, it's on my list. Rick, go ahead.
It's not unfortunate on your list. It deserves to be on your list. It deserves to be on my list. But the point is, what's amazing about this, and I mentioned this in the action film Autopsy as well, if you want to solve the mystery of why the Joker 2 is so bad, go watch Hangover 3. Same filmmaker, but this filmmaker is literally doing it on purpose. Because what happened is he made the first 2 Hangover movies, and they were huge hits. So of course the studio goes after him. We want 3, just like they're doing to poor Keanu Reeves now with John Wick 5. We want 5. So much pressure. We want 5. You got to give us 5. And what's great about this filmmaker is he goes, all right, you want Hangover 3? You want Joker 2? I'll give you Hangover 3. In other words, he's doing it on purpose, but with malice aforethought. He's not pretending he's not doing it. He'll just do it. He had total freedom to do. You look at his contract for this movie. He did what he wanted to do, and what he wanted to do is screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you. I mean, in other words, I was excited when it was a musical. I love musicals. And then he said, well, guess what, Rick? I'm going to make the worst imaginable musical. And yeah, there you go. So in that respect, I respect the film, and I admire the film, and I love the fact that he did what he wanted, and he succeeded in alienating every possible fan of this film. There won't be a Joker 3.
Oh, will there be? No, it was a big bomb. So,
well, if he has the contract that says that they can't do it without him, there won't be. But if he doesn't have that contract, James Gunn will put in or Matt Reeves will put in a Joker.
Copy that. All right, next up. I'm sure it's on. Oh, okay. I'll chime in.
Because The Crow.
Yeah. Basically, the exact same thing I said about Roadhouse again.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's a well-known cursed series. I mean, I know the creator of the comic book well. I spent many comic book conventions sitting next to him at a table and stuff, and we had long talks about this. Also, he was on the set when Brandon was killed, and I got a phone call, not from him, but somebody else on the crew. And, why they keep coming back to this, again, because it's a brand and because they can do it. But the odds are not good. I mean, take a hint, guys. Let him stay dead.
Yeah. And again, segueing to tomorrow's stream at 1 p.m., me and Lady Fat are going to go through the whole reasons about why The Crow is here. Again, giving it a fair shot,
absolutely.
Giving it a fair shot, open mind, and is like
that's what the producers depend on. That's what
you know what this is. I'm going to say this right now. You know what this is? Imagine watching Death Wish, and Charles Bronson does his thing and kills the bad guys, but at the very end, he finds a lamp, and he rubs it, and a genie comes out, and he makes a wish. Hey, can I trade places with my wife that died earlier? Oh, thank you, genie. And that's the end of the movie. That's The Crow. Spoiler alert.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's literally this. Can't. It's supposed to get you in the feels. You're supposed to feel bad. You're supposed to want revenge. No, just for them to flip it at the end, I couldn't believe it.
You were asking way too much of it. But let's get through the rest of the worst, because I'm losing my will to go on. I mean, I can't wait to get to the best.
Only got 3 left. Go ahead, Rick.
Let's go. Borderlands.
Boom.
Famously bad, but again, very easily find outable why. Because it was just a fustercluck. It was a huge fustercluck behind the scenes. So yeah, that's all we need to say about it.
All right.
And then I already mentioned Craven.
Think you have
we
one
can
more?
Stop. We can do one more, but I only put it on to make it 10.
Yeah.
So we don't really need to. I was going.
You only got one more left.
Yeah, I know. I was going to. I will include Armor, the Sylvester Stallone movie, but not because it's terrible. It's just because it's not that good. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's a good example of what happens now. Producers, after the pandemic, after the strikes, these actors need money. They've got to do something, because some of them. I mean, Stallone is famously known for burning the candle at both ends monetarily. So he needed money. This is clearly. People, I mean, I've heard critics go, "Why did he do this? He did it for the money."
Yeah,
and the less he can do, and it's basically a one set movie inside of an armored car. But we're already giving it too much credit. I've just slapped it on there in order to make 10 of them. Let's get off of the bad stuff and onto the good stuff.
I got 3 left. I'm going to speed run all 3.
Go
speed run. All right. Go. The remake of Salem's Lot can go fuck itself.
Take your time. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm an old man.
Okay, go to the bathroom.
You just keep
Salem's Lot. Terrible.
Stop when I come back.
terrible. And I have seen the original. I have seen the miniseries with Rob Lowe. I have seen the sequel. And now we have this new remake, and it's terrible. It's horrible. It's really, 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 really bad. Salem's Lot is that one, and Rick knows I'm a slasher fan, even though Rick hates slasher. Rick hates slashers, but Rick likes smart slashers. He likes if it's smart or tries to do something different. Rick will be okay with slasher movies. But you guys know I'm a big, huge Friday the 13th fan. I'm not an expert, but I'm a big fan. You guys know I love me some slashers. But In a Violent Nature is my number 2 worst movie of the year. I'm sorry. It is. I hate this movie. By the end of it, I was screaming, "And!" I was screaming, "And!" I was flipping off the TV. And this, again, this is my genre. But In a Violent Nature is absolute trash. It should have been a 15-minute short film. And they extended it for whatever the fuck, how long it is. But yeah, In a Violent Nature is absolute trash. And now there's a sequel coming.
Oh no!
Are you kidding me right now? There's a sequel coming. I have a number 1, but I'm going to wait till Rick comes back because Rick will laugh at my number 1. But let's go to chat right now. Oh, he's back. Okay, here he is. Oh, thank you, Anubis. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah. I just destroyed a film from the slasher genre, Rick. So I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy. But I saved my number 1 for you, Rick. Oh, he's just putting on the headphones.
What's
I
that?
saved my number 1 for you, Rick.
Oh, come on.
My number, because just to see you laugh. My number 1 worst movie of the year, 2024, is Wages of Nothing.
What?
Wages of Fear.
Oh shit!
The remake.
Yeah.
They remake Wages of Fear
into an action movie, Frank.
Oh my god!
It could have been great. It could have been great.
It couldn't even entertain me. It couldn't even be a dumb action movie. Wages of Nothing is my absolute worst movie of the year.
My God.
It's my worst movie of the year. You guys will watch it and be like, well, it's not that bad.
I already
But
saw
for
it.
me, but for me, I'm just talking about the audience watching.
Oh yeah.
For me, who was blown away by Sorcerer, loved the original Wages of Fear, and I was like, oh my God, they're making an action movie of Wages of Fear. And our boy from those movies you recommended, Rick, was
Lost
also in
Bullet.
the movie.
Yeah.
Lost Bullet.
Yeah.
So I was excited, and nothing happened in that movie. It is trash. Number 1, worst movie of the year.
Even he has come out and said that was awful. I'm sorry, I'm in it. Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. Man
All
of
right,
my heart.
Come on.
All right, now
the good stuff.
for the best of the year. Are we going me, Frank, you? How you want to do this?
I don't know. What do you want to do, Frank?
Doesn't matter.
You want to just go through your whole list?
You're the boss. You're the boss.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'll go first.
Well, one at a time. We have to do.
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah.
Best of the year.
Frank.
Okay. So best of the year from 10 to 1, of course.
Yeah.
Number 10, Gladiator 2. Now, it's not a great movie, but I'm just glad that he made it because nobody else made a movie like that anymore. He's the only one that can still. He's the only one that can still make a movie like Gladiator 2. So as much as it's not as good as no, but look, this is not even on, definitely not on the same level as the first one. I still enjoy it. I still am glad I saw it. And the action scenes are outrageous, which I kind of like. It's almost like really disgusting. You know what? I'm almost I'm gonna die, so fuck it. Let's make it as outrageous as possible. So I enjoy it. I thought it was good. I like the final confrontation. If you've seen it, you know how the final confrontation is actually not at the stadium. So not at the Coliseum. So that was good. So that's number 10. Number 9.
Oh, wait a minute! No, we're doing it one at a time. We're not doing it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not doing your whole list.
Okay.
Because now I get to talk about that. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about. Gladiator 2 is not on my worst list, but it's one of the few movies I walked out of.
Wow!
What? You walked out?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I was with a friend. I mean, drove me to the movie theaters. We both sat down to watch it. Of course, the movie theater fucked up. The movie was supposed to start at 5:30. It started at 5:40. I had to keep walking out into the lobby going, hey! And then the movie started, and that was really bad casting. The guy who stars in Gladiator 2 is just like hollow. This movie was no center. Of course, Denzel is great, but Denzel's in another movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, he's in a movie. He's in what was
he's like in Roman gangster, you know.
Yeah, what was the movie he made that got the Oscar for?
Training Day?
Training Day.
This was Gladiator Training Day with Denzel Washington. I mean, and then the fighting too was. There weren't any. It's not like they had experts from the Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston where they studied how they fought. Here it was just kind of like blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so this is a great example. That's one of his best. It's one of my honorary mentions for worst. All right, who goes next? Fat, you go next, or I go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Number 10 for me for best is The Beekeeper. Really enjoyed it.
That's mine too. That's my first best. Yeah.
Yeah. Really
you say
enjoyed
why
that
you
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we had a great versus episode with the Beekeeper versus Transporter. Make sure you guys check out that episode. But it just took me back. I watched a lot of action and martial arts movies. There's a lot of movies I missed this year, but some of the ones that I came across, it had everything I wanted in it, but there was always something there annoying me. Something would pop up and annoy me, and it kind of bothered me throughout the film. But Beekeeper, I didn't get any of that in terms of like ruining the movie. It was satisfying. I was in the theater like, I'm satisfied. Like, yes. I didn't feel like I wasted my money.
This is the movie these guys wanted to make. It was very clear that Jason Statham, he was a producer on this. It was one of the first films from his company. And it was clear that it was the movie he wanted to make. And one of the things I've loved about Jason all along, he's just one of the few guys who will be on a set, and it doesn't matter whether it's with Vin Diesel or The Rock or whatever, and they say, well, now do this. And Jason will go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what I do. I'm not going to fake the fighting for you. It's going to be the way I fight. And Beekeeper, this is one of the most solid. I love it that it's called The Beekeeper because it's like the ultimate 2024 B movie. But it's B plus because the fighting is excellent. It gets better. Usually the first fight is the best fight in most of these, Jackie Chan type movies now. Even in Roadhouse, the first fight was the best fight. Here, the fights build. It builds and builds and builds and builds. The last fight is the best fight, but all the fights have been good. And they also have this one, and Jeremy Irons is in it. I'm going, why is Jeremy Irons in this movie? And that's because of Jason called it a favor, but also Jeremy Irons saw his dialogue scenes, and the final dialogue scene between him and Jason is the whole raison d'etre of the movie. They have a conversation in a hall outside of a door before Jason goes in to take on his big boss, and they give you the message right there. Jason Statham's not going to waste time seeding a message in. He's just going to tell you, tell you in that wonderful voice of his. It's a crackerjack movie. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Frank.
Yeah, that's Beekeeper was my number 9. So, number 9 on my list. Yeah, I just like, this is almost like, what if Jason Statham had starred in a 1980s action movie? This was it. So it's great action, brutal, violent, nice story, nice setup, and yeah, just like Rick said, it's just Jason Statham doing his thing. So, but in a more 80s way, and I love like that guy, the telemarketing guy with his farmhouse. It's like this is like 80s all over again. So yeah, I had a blast.
And the fights work. In other words, it wasn't empty movement. The final fight with the big boss, he made it believable because throughout the whole rest of the movie, Jason Statham is just coming in and kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah, he got injured. He got hurt during that end fight. Yeah,
this end fight, they made it work. It's a cool movie. All right, next.
All right, you're next, Rick.
I'm next. I thought Frank.
It was Beekeeper. It was Beekeeper
for his next one. Oh, okay. My next one. Oh, yeah. This is probably not something anybody's seen except me, and that is Kingdom 4. Kingdom 4, I forgot the subtitle. I told you the subtitle, but I didn't write it down. But Kingdom 4, it is a series. It's adaptations. I don't, Frank, do you know if Korean comic books are also called manga or are they called something else?
They call manga, yeah.
They are called manga.
But they didn't call manhwa, with the Korean word.
Oh,
manhwa.
so the manhwa. So
Right.
these are based on a long series of historical manhwa, and it is a Korean movie of Japanese history, and it is so well. I saw the first one. My nephew, who loves anime, because there's the manhwa, there's also the anime, and then they're so successful that they started making live action versions. And it is so well done. It is so well cast. It is so well filmed. These are epic war movies, but with Korean flair. Because, this was, it's just, and so I saw the first one. They're all on Netflix. Then I saw the second one. The second one was better. Then I saw the third one. The third one was better. So I'm going to see every one that they put out. But then the fourth one, it was better than all the other ones. Because the Return of the King character that they have, I don't know where they got the guy. Because when you're doing drawing in a manhwa or a manga or a comic book, you can make him look any way they want. This guy is like the living embodiment of that manhwa. And most of the movie, he sits on a horse watching the battles, and you see it all on his face. But his face doesn't seem to be moving at all. It's just the energy pouring off of this guy. Once he gets on screen, even when he doesn't seem to be moving, can't take your eyes off him. I mean, I highly recommend. Has anybody seen any of the Kingdom movies? You guys.
I'm fired. I'm fired. I actually own the first one on Blu-ray, and I haven't watched it yet.
Watch it.
I'm going to change that.
Yeah,
I'm going to change that.
Put aside a couple of days and watch all four one day.
Yeah, I'll just binge all of them.
Who's putting them out here?
Netflix.
Oh, Netflix. Okay.
They're all on Netflix.
Yeah,
okay.
Netflix. All right. Next up for me is Kill. I'm sorry, Rick. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed it. What's funny though, Rick, is I really enjoyed it. It was, it had a badassery in it, badassity, and Rick knows that's what I usually like. Love the violence. Some of the parts of the movie went so dark it was borderline horror.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
However, this is one of those movies where something was bothering me throughout the whole movie, but not enough to where it ruined it. And I think you mentioned it before, Rick, and I forgot about it, and then I remembered it again when I was watching the film.
Yeah.
And that is I know why they did it. I know why, because they wanted an emotional response as soon as that title comes up. And it worked for me. I was like, kill all these motherfuckers for what they did to them.
Yeah.
But the first, when the shit hits the fan, I'm like, why is he fighting like a regular martial artist? He's a commando. Now, if they didn't have knives and they were just regular thieves, then it would make sense. I'm gonna just take these guys down, hurt them a little bit, maybe break an arm. I don't want to kill them, but they had knives, so there was no reason for him to just not fight like not fight like a commando. It didn't make any sense, especially. And I think you mentioned this too, Rick, when the big huge guy was choking him, his thumbs were right there to take out the guy's eyes. It was like until someone he loved died. Sorry, minor spoiler. Then he started using everything around him, and he fought totally differently. I still love the movie though. It's a great action film. If you want a great kick-ass action martial arts movie, you can't go wrong with Kill. But that was bothering me in the beginning a little bit. So.
Well, yeah, all those slaughter movies that they've been making lately. That it's the one with the kill all. What is it? Kill everybody, everything, all the time. The kid in the sort of like the fantasy world, and also Monkey Man. All the slaughter movies. I always feel that they should make these movies like animated movies, in that they should storyboard out the entire movie so everything fits together and builds. But also, I understand both Monkey Man and Kill were made on a lower budget, and so they didn't have the time to do it the way I like it. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. Anyway, next.
But I will say
go.
this, and this is controversial. I liked Kill a lot more than Bullet Train. Sorry.
No, you don't have to. No one should apologize for liking what they like.
Yeah.
Because there are the people that you're finding that controversial about. I liked Bullet Train better, but I'm not apologizing, and I'm not asking you to apologize. If you see a movie you like, great. You know what I always say? I'm glad you liked it. Wish I did.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out, guys. I recommend Kill. All right, Frank.
Yeah.
So since we talked about these two Indian films, I might as well mention that there's only one movie on my disappointment list, and Monkey Man was it, and Kill was what Monkey Man should have been.
Wow, this just popped up right when you said that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I had high hopes for Monkey Man, and when I went to see it, I was very disappointed.
Oh yeah, the other one, I remember the title, Boy Kills World.
Right.
That was also another that got like Argyle. That got way too clever for its own good.
Right. I mean, Monkey Man is a decent movie, but the fights are just not what I thought it would be. It went way too short. I mean, like that group fight was so good, and then he had to cut it short. It was like, why did you cut it short?
Well, I can tell you why. Because they ran into all sorts of production problems. I mean, they drove at full speed straight into the pandemic, and that just sort of smashed them. Right. So yeah, they were lucky to get that one done at all. At least I can understand why it turned out the way it did.
Right. All right. I guess I bought into the hype, so I was disappointed.
Gotcha.
Anyway, number 8 for me was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and I as a big fan of the original and the first 3 movies, I'm just glad that they're still making these films. The effects are getting better and better. I like how grand the storytelling is now. Set a few hundred years in the future. It really, to me, is like a Western film. And I mean it continues the Western vibe of the original series, which I really like. And so, even though technically this is not really an action movie, I consider this a great another great entry in the series, and I hope they make more. They're supposed to make 5 more, and I hope that they keep making them because I just find them intriguing, interesting, and I just want to see how it goes. I mean, like where they'll take us. So
nice. What the line that I'm taking out to put on the T-shirt or the review of this show is, technically it's not an action film, but Frank Djeng, basically that. There we go. That's all we need to know. You're absolutely right. It's but of course it's not on any of my list because it's not an action film. So go ahead.
I've been meaning to check it out, Frank. I just haven't gotten around.
Oh yeah, it's worthwhile.
It's worthwhile. It's a nice,
cool.
Absolutely.
Worthwhile.
All right.
Next, who's next? Me or you?
You.
Okay.
Right.
Well, here we go. I'm sorry. I keep on. Oh no, I did have one before I was going to get to another television show, and that is 1% Warriors. Speaking of an action film, in other words, as a film, it's held together with Scotch tape, but as an action film, it is really cool and it's very much a Tak Sakaguchi movie because he challenges himself and his audience with every movie he tries to make. He always tries to do something different. And here, again, it grows and grows and grows. He keeps on putting, he's starring, and it's, the plot line is because he's playing an action star. It's all woven, but the fights just keep on he keeps on putting problems in his way and he keeps solving the problems. And that's through action. And it's just, so of course, I loved it. I mean, I didn't even have to, it was kind of, it's like Tak Sakaguchi's Fast Forward to the Fights film, because that's the way he made it. He made it so he fast forwards to the fights. And it's very, very interesting. I was a little disappointed with the final fight because it was a Jeet Kune Do situation, but I also understand that just like virtually everybody else, especially our friends here on the show, they're catering to the Bruce Lee crowd. So
that is his style, though. I mean, that's that actor's style.
Yeah, exactly. It is that actor's style, but it also makes sense for Tak to put him in the movie because you want to get the Bruce Lee crowd because they're the they're the most dependable ones.
Right. Copy that. All right. I'm glad that's on your list. Next
too.
up, I'm going to do a switcheroo here.
What?
Next up is a movie that, speaking of bonkers and insane and what the hell am I watching? Is this a musical? Is this a live? This feels like a live action cartoon. Hundreds of Beavers, baby.
What a great
It's
movie.
bizarre.
I am
But
glad you
man,
chose
we
that.
had so much fun watching Hundreds of Beavers, especially going in completely blind to it. We were like, what is this? It got a lot of buzz at festivals last year, and it came out this year, and I had the opportunity to interview the director and lead star, and they're big.
We wanted him. We wanted him for the Comic-Con. We wanted them.
Yeah, that would have been cool if we got him for Comic-Con. But yeah, they're big, huge Hong Kong action movie fans, Jackie Chan fans. So there's a fight in that movie, a bar fight, that's so ridiculous and over the top, and Hong Kong action film lovers will like that fight. But there's so much creativity for such a small budget movie. You're watching this, you're like, man, how long did it take for them to come up with this stuff?
That's right.
And just the ideas were so big. If you guys watch the trailer, it's bonkers. But Hundreds of Beavers, I just was such a delight. And it's actually a lot smarter than at first value. Like, when you look at it, it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming later. Yeah. So yeah, Hundreds of Beavers. Check it out, guys.
Yeah, it's funny. I was approached by a French filmmaker who's doing author who's writing 2 martial art movie books for the French market that are coming out next year. And he got in touch with me and asked me 8 questions. And one of the questions was, it's getting harder and harder to make a good action movie. And I'm saying, well, Cynthia Rothrock and the Hundreds of Beavers guy is making a liar out of you. It's not getting harder. You just need to do it yourself. And and Hundreds of Beavers is one of the great DIY movies of all time.
And it's hilarious.
It's wonderful.
Slapstick, it's really everything.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Frank.
My number 7 on my top 10 list, Godzilla X Kong.
Hey, there you go. I know my audience is happy to
not
see
as
that
good as it's not as good as the previous one, and it's actually rather ridiculous to see them running like this shot here. But
it's so
that's
much
your
fun
next
now.
Now
it's fun.
It's fun. The effects are good. I like the effects.
It's Showa era. It was Showa era.
Showa era, and also like how daring it was in the middle sequence where you have this long sequence set in that Kong, that land where there's no dialogue. Yeah. And it went on for like at least 15-20 minutes. And so you know what? For a Hollywood film, that's actually pretty daring, to have a scene like this. So and like Fat said, I had fun. It's not as great as the previous one with the Mechagodzilla one, but still, yeah. And sometimes you just want to have fun, and this movie kind of gave that to you. So yeah,
copy that.
Okay.
All right.
Again, that's going on the T-shirt. Not as good as the last one. But anyway, of course, the next one, no question, probably the best non-Chinese or Hong Kong related martial arts, Shogun. It's just a great show with great people, done beautiful. It proves that Gaijin can make a reputable, exceptional Japanese action series. It's the best of that genre for this year, no doubt in my mind.
Nice.
It was incredible.
Copy that. All right. Next up for me is Deadpoolverine.
That's
I had to go there.
Yeah.
Brought back my boy Blade. We already gushed about it here on the channel. It's a lot of fun. It exceeded my expectations.
We all saw it together.
Yeah, that's right.
Not me.
That's right.
Yeah.
You didn't go to the theater, right? You didn't go to the movie.
No.
But we were all there.
Just the blast.
San Diego Comic-Con, and we all went to the first show in San Diego.
Yeah, you saw it before we did. Yeah. And we saw it a little bit later. But yeah, it's just Deadpool and Wolverine was a lot of fun, man. And,
especially when you consider basically
fun action, violence, comedy, and made fun of Marvel being bad right now. It's fucking brilliant.
And it's amazing because not a single fight scene has any purpose for existing, because every single creature in this movie is invulnerable.
Yes, but like you said, Rick, you were like, why are they attacking each other when they can't hurt each other? You're like, oh, that's how they're expressing themselves emotionally.
Right,
Mhm.
emotionally.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
why
that's on my list. All right, Frank.
So that's on my list. That's the next one on my list, number 6.
Oh, look at that.
yeah.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, Deadpool was on my number 6. And again, yeah, just fun. It may not be, important in the whole big picture of the MCU, but still.
Oh, it's incredibly important. It's they couldn't have gone on without it.
Mhm.
Well, I understand, but in terms of story-wise.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm talking about too.
Oh.
From a
Well,
story
yeah.
wise.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
they needed this to be a hit so that they can continue with the whatever that's come next. But in
Financially,
terms of the
gotcha.
actual story within the, well, maybe it's related. I mean, like especially the scene where why Thor crying. I mean, maybe there's some hints in the movie that indicate something that we will find out later on. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this whole thing, and also they had to tell the audience, yes, we know. Bob Chapek isn't here anymore.
Yeah,
we know.
Yeah.
So that was next on my list too. But of course, I bet what I'm about to say is on all our lists as well, which is Twilight of the Warriors, Walled In.
Yeah.
That's all on our lists. And except for the final fight, which is somewhat Deadpool Wolverine style, I thought it was just great. You guys say things about it.
I love the feel of it. I love it felt like a classic Shaw Brothers movie done in modern day style, like in a modern setting, but it felt like a Shaw Brothers movie.
It felt like Golden Harvest to me. I didn't think it was a Shaw Brothers.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking Kid with the Golden Arm kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
That. It kind of reminded me of that.
But phenomenal. This film is high on my list, so I'm going to talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah, me too. We'll come back to it. But nice pick, Rick.
Okay.
Next up for me is, let's see. I'm going to screw this up. Hold on a second. Dune Part 2. I finally got around to seeing it, Frank. Really enjoyed it, man.
Good.
Really, really enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised. A lot of stuff got wrapped up. I was like, oh, that character's dead. All right, that character's dead. All right. All right, cool. We're keeping it rolling here. But yeah, I'm excited for the third one. I like the fact this had more action in it. But I enjoyed the first one, and I dug the second one. Since I got you here, Frank, and you're the Dune expert, really, I have one question, and then we'll move on. So I enjoyed the Zendaya character. I liked her in the movie. Until I didn't like her in the movie. And then there you go, Rick. Just here we go. Just something's annoying me now, for the rest of the film. Why was she acting like, I understand, no spoilers here, but I understand her being upset for him doing what the choice he made with Florence Pugh. I understand her being upset with that. But earlier in the movie, she's like, you need to do the thing. You need to do the thing. And he's like, but I don't want to do the thing because a lot of people are going to die and I'm going to lose you. And then he finally's like, all right, you want me to do the thing? I'll do the thing. And he does the thing. And then what happens? A lot of people die. And he ended up losing her. And she's mad about it from then on, when he becomes the chosen one, she's been this pissed off look for the entire movie. And I'm just like, what's your problem? You were okay with this. You told him to do this.
Yeah, no. The fact is, Chani was not an important character in the novel. Oh. So this was all embellished to make Zendaya
drama.
Drama, and also because of the fact that they have Zendaya, as the star. So they want, the director Denise was giving her more meat to work on. So
for drama purposes,
right? So that she became an important character in both this film and the next.
Okay,
film.
And also, since I started with the novels, and I knew the author of the novels, and so that's my history. So my understanding is that her character in this movie feels that he has now gone from being a hero to being a villain, and that's what's pissing her off.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. I can see that a little bit. But still, it was kind of annoying at first. All right. All right. Who's next? Frank, you next or Rick?
I'm next. Okay. So my number 5 on my top 10 list, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Man, I wanted to see this so bad.
I saw it.
Yes.
I mean,
It's
I
fun.
don't think we've had a film like this in the Inglorious Bastard film. So, I mean, the film reminded me of quite a lot of that Tarantino film. I like the tongue-in-cheek humor. I like the action. I mean, and you can tell they're having fun making this film. Everybody was making fun. I mean, having fun making this film, and
Right.
it kind of translated to the audience. I was watching. Oh yeah, this is great. This is fun, and I mean, yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of action films set in World War II anymore, and so it's nice to see a film set in that era. Talk about Ian Fleming, who of course later on write the James Bond novel. So yeah, I mean, to me, this was it was a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect it to be so much fun.
It was very
Nice.
much. It was very much Guy Ritchie's Inglorious Bastards.
Yes.
Just
Okay.
like just like both of them, from the very moment it starts, none of the heroes are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a true story about the creation of the OSS, this is not it. But it is a lot of fun.
All right. Rick, what do you got?
Well, Inside Out 2. This is Frank is reacting the way I react to what Frank's choice is. This is a great emotional action film. The ending of this movie, the anxiety attack scene alone is historic. It's just I went to the world premiere outside of Disney Studios of the original Inside Out with the directors and the writers on hand, and I figured there was no way they could follow that up. But then I saw this and saw that it was about anxiety, and then they visualized through animation an anxiety attack. And having had an anxiety attack back in the days when I was anorexic, I just sort of went, "Oh, this is astonishing. This is a work of art. This is as good." That's what was so disappointing about Dream Productions, the television show that they have on Disney Plus now. Doesn't come even close to this. But yeah, I strongly, it's not just for kids, but it's also for kids. It's a great movie.
Nice. Copy that. All right. Up next is 1% Warrior for me. Really enjoyed it. Once it got to the ending, I understood what Talk was trying to do and convey. I don't think the casual audience will. I think the casual audience might be a little disappointed in the ending. They might be like, "Huh?" Which is fine. That's fine. But I really enjoyed it, man. I got a kick out of it. I loved how he was on set earlier. He's playing an actor, stuntman, and on set earlier, and he's watching them do kind of similar type stuff for Rurouni Kenshin, and he kind of playfully threw a shot at Kenji a little bit. He's like, "It looks like they're dancing. Like this isn't fighting, right?" But we're just having a lot of fun. But yeah, 1% Warrior, one of my favorites of the year for sure.
There you go.
All right, Frank.
All right, so then I'm down to the last four, and all four movies I actually went to see it twice in theaters. So I kind of judged my top 10 list is okay, which movies I like it so much I went back to see it a second time. So first one, this is number 4 on my list. Yeah, that's right. They had a good time. Yeah, definitely right. So number 4 on my list, Alien Romulus, and they had a special place in my heart because I went to the panel at Comic-Con. I saw the director, I saw the cast. It was a great panel. It was a lot of fun. We got free face huggers. What more can you have?
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
I saw footage of it on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh my god, I wish I could have been there. It was cool."
Yeah, it was very fun. Look, it's not a great. To me, this is not as great as some of the previous Alien films for sure.
Okay,
and it's just too much fan service at some point for me too.
Yes.
But great design, great production design, great cinematography, great effects. She was great. Andy, the guy, the both of them were the best thing about the movie. And although, even though I hate the fact that they killed off the most interesting character so early, Eileen Wu's character, I think Eileen Wu was the most interesting character in the whole crew, but of course they killed her off so early. But great effects, great production design, and I like the fact that the success of this film means we'll get more alien stuff later on. Whether it's a TV series or definitely
Right.
the sequel or whatever movie. So just based on that alone, this film deserved to be on a higher position on my list. So number 4.
Well, there you go.
And you're representing that sci-fi, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a person who was on the set of the original Alien and held the original Alien's head in my hands, and also talked to its designer and all the rest of it, this was my favorite Alien movie since Alien 2, because I didn't like the previous ones.
Mm-hmm.
I especially the previous one, I think, was one of the most hateful movies I'd seen in a decade. So I was very happy about this one. And although I'm still going to not run to them, I'm going to run to the Predator movies, which I think are getting better and better. I loved Prey, and I'm looking forward to the new one. I did enjoy this one as a classic homage as well as a remake. And great.
Copy that.
And
if you want to know our thoughts, me and Lady Fatblood's thoughts, got to become a channel member. Join us on Patreon.
Yeah. I just want to say that whole the climactic final is just great. I mean, some people hated it. I thought it was good. It's a logical extension of
who hated it.
A lot of people thought the Offspring thing. The Offspring thing.
Oh,
okay. Connection.
Yeah, again, we're back to the old social media thing. As I keep saying on Action Film Autopsy, face it, just accept it. A movie will come out and millions will hate it and millions will love it, and we'll hear all about it on social media.
Right.
But don't take any of it seriously.
Right. I mean, some people hated the Offspring. I think it's fine. Again, like I said, the logical extension of what we've been exploring in terms of this world, this alien.
Of course.
Well, and the effects are great. The whole finale.
And I've been waiting for the Offspring since the very first one, because that was one of the discussions I had with the creator of the Alien, H.R. Giger. He told me about the Offspring back in the original. So the fact that it showed up, I was going, yay, Giger, yay, H.R.
Yeah. All right, Rick.
Okay, my next.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so after that, it was Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh yeah, now here we go. This was such for a long time, Netflix would give filmmakers money and say, do what you want. And I believe now, on the basis of this last year, that Netflix realized that was a mistake. So now what they're doing is they're giving filmmakers money and they're saying, give us something good. Don't do whatever you want, give us something good. And an example of that is Rebel Ridge. Rebel Ridge, I thought it was going to be another Netflix movie by the numbers. They established something from an action scene standpoint. And this goes back to the speech that I gave at the Walt Disney Company, where you need to make a great action movie, you need to make involving action scenes, not just generic fill time, empty movement action scenes. If you can take the action scene out of the movie without affecting the movie in any way, it's not a good action scene. And what he does here, their laws, his rules, is just they establish in the opening something that our hero, Aaron Pierre, who's great, and I'm looking forward to all the rest of it. Don Johnson is also great.
Nice.
They establish something that he decides. He doesn't have to do what he decides to do, but it's in character because he's a military man. He's a special forces guy, and he's dealing with police. So in a perfect world, the police would be good guys. They wouldn't be. They'd be on his side. So he makes a decision that he's not going to kill any of them. And every single one of the many fight scenes hinges on that decision. And they design it in such a way that it was impossible for me not to be involved all the time. Oh my God, what is he going to do? How is he going to get out of this? Because the cops aren't like that. The cops are like, the Don Johnson character is going, we got to kill this guy. And so then it becomes a chess game. But also an action chess game. The picture that I gave you, no, I didn't give you the picture. I have the picture on my Facebook post, which is one of my favorite moments, is that Don Johnson points a gun at him. and there's a moment where he grabs the barrel of the gun and points it down. That's the message of the movie. That's what, and then he keeps doing. It's just a terrific. It's a great movie. It works every single scene, and I'm hoping they continue, because even though, and another great thing about the movie is they don't leave it open ended, but they do give you a little hint that it could continue. In other words, they're not doing Rebel Moon bullshit where it's kind of like, oh, big cliffhanger. No, he takes care of the problem, but also there could be other problems. It's a great movie.
It's
strongly recommended. Yeah.
Copy that.
Next.
All right. The next one for me, I have not seen Terrifier 3 yet. So as of right now, this is the most violent movie of the year. The Shadow Strays. I'm putting it on there.
Of course. There we go.
Yeah. Which it may or may not be linked to the same world of The Night Comes For Us, which is a movie I love.
It is.
It is. Okay. Because it feels like it. So
it has to be.
But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. It has everything I love in it. It was a minor bump, Rick. It wasn't a da 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 da.
Yeah.
The minor bump is there was a few things shown in like a subplot of the character that we just met,
right?
And then that character gets killed off, and it was like, why did you even bother bringing that up? Because the person that heard the message dies later anyway, and we never returned to it. So I was just kind of like, what's the point of that? But I'm sure Timo's slowly world building here. Other than that, though, I want to see a sequel. I want to see more of the world.
We'll see what happens.
I really enjoyed it.
It's not on my list because it's not as good as The Night Comes For Us or The Raid 1 and 2.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's like, and also it's another assassination movie with a female lead who and the other thing was that in The Raid 1 and 2 and The Night Comes For Us, everybody is clearly doing their own stunts.
Mm-hmm.
She is not.
Right.
So it's like,
that's why a lot of long hair down. And you could tell that most likely that's a stunt guy.
It's
probably Yayan. Really.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't as good as the previous one, so that's. But I respect your choice.
Yeah. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun with that. Frank, what's next?
Okay, the final three. Number 3 on my list.
Yes.
Twilight of the Warriors.
Bam!
All right, now go on.
Now, I strongly feel that this was the film that's going to reignite the Hong Kong action movie trend, and I sincerely hope this will be it. And even though I didn't mention it, to Fat earlier, I saw the Prosecutor in Hong Kong. I just came back from Hong Kong with Donnie Yen. And you can tell how the Prosecutor is kind of continuing this kind of trend in terms of action. The style of action is MMA action. Again, and all the action in the Prosecutor was done by Japanese stuntmen and Japanese choreographer. So it's not Kenji though for Prosecutor. It was actually a student of Donnie who's a Japanese. So,
nice.
So all the stunt people in the Prosecutor were all Japanese. So anyway, I'm seeing this trend of how the Hong Kong action movies are now using Japanese kind of choreographers. So there's now this rather new kind of fighting, which I find kind of refreshing. It's not your typical boom, 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 that kind of fight. You have more MMA elements, you have different kind of body movements. But anyway, going back to Twilight Warriors, it's wonderful. I mean, of course, it took them 2-3 years to make, but it really kind of is a great throwback to the golden age of Hong Kong action cinema, and you see people like Sammo Hung there, but it also introduced a new generation of possible martial arts actors like Philip and German Djeng and of course what's his name, Raymond Lam. So it's like it's at the same time it's showing you both the old and the new, and I think that's a good thing. And I think that with the success of this film, is hopeful that people will start making more of these films. I mean, they'll become aware that we need these films for the overseas market, because for the past few years, Hong Kong has been concentrating too much on making what I call both the social issue movie and the so-called healing movies, healing from the 2019 the demonstration stuff, because of the fact that these are low-budget movies, these are local themed and stuff. So you see a lot of those films, but I think this film make them realize we still need to make films like these so that overseas people can. Why are you shaking your head? Tell me why.
Because you know very well that is not the way it works in Hong Kong now. Where there's a reason why there's no Wolf Warrior 3. There's a reason why Zhu Huafeng's last 4 movies were repressed and never released.
But
It's
I'm not talking about China, though. I'm talking about Hong Kong.
It is Hong Kong is China.
Well, okay, no, I understand, but I'm talking about film like this one, or The Prosecutor, where even though The Prosecutor was a Hong Kong China co-production, is a very Hong Kong film. There's no Mandarin-speaking actor.
But
they
the point
are
is,
aware. I think they are not aware.
If the Chinese Film Bureau says no, Donnie doesn't get to do Prosecutor 2. Period.
Right. But this is what I find surprising about The Prosecutor.
Yes.
It has corrupt cops. It has corrupt judicial people.
Yes, that's normal for.
But that's a China-Hong Kong co-production.
Yes,
which
but
means China
okayed
it.
In China, there wouldn't be corrupt cops.
No.
That's what China does, because the only reason he got to make it is that he had all the previous Hong Kong action films had corrupt Hong Kong cops. That's what China likes. That's what they want to do.
But I think that's also why this film is also successful in China, exactly for the point that you just mentioned, because China people saw this film like, oh my God, they're actually showing corrupt people, you know?
But this is not the first movie that they've had corrupt people.
Right, but lately they haven't been doing that. Right. Every time when they show corrupt cops or prosecutor, they always say this was during the colonial time. This film was set in post-colonial, post-hangover.
It's
almost like
very, very sweet of you to hope that, but you're not dealing with the reality as it exists.
But Rick, this was a huge hit financially, so they're going to do more.
It's true in Hawaii, right? It's true in America. Filmmaking is not about money. Too. It's not about money. It's about ego, and in this case, it's about Chinese power. They don't care if it makes $1 billion. Wolf Warrior 2 was the most successful monetarily action Chinese film of all time. He said, we're doing number 3. And Chinese Film Bureau said, no, you're not.
Well, but this is a little bit different. This is about judicial.
It's not a little bit
different. Like righting wrong. This film is like righting wrongs. This is Donnie's version of righting wrongs.
I hope you're right, but I'm happy to bet you.
Really? His version of righting wrongs?
No, bet what?
Huh?
Bet what?
I'm happy to bet that what you're saying about because it made so much money, this is going to be this success.
No, what I'm saying is China film, because what I'm saying, it looks like they've loosened up on what can be shown and what cannot be shown in Hong Kong China co-production lately.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I also hope that you hope what you hope, but I do not believe on the basis of the reasons you're giving. If it's in China's best interest, as they decide, and also remember, next year's San Diego Comic-Con Kung Fu Extravaganza is going to be awesome because in addition to The Prosecutor, we're also going to have Eye for an Eye 2, and we're also going to have the number 1 on my best list of the year. So there is hope, but I'm just suggesting that you don't just see what happens.
No, I'm not being optimistic about any of these. I'm just saying that it was fascinating to see this China Hong Kong co-production which has a plot about corrupt politicians, corrupt judges, corrupt cops set in the modern period. That's all.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
Because before, in the previous, in the co-production of the previous year, they always said this is during colonial time.
It was before China, before 1997.
Right. But yeah, I mean, this is a great. I mean, look, the drama side of this film is not that good, but the actions are great. But going back to Twilight Warrior, I'm just hoping that the success of Twilight Warrior and now The Prosecutor means Hong Kong will start making more action movies. And clearly also, when you watch The Prosecutor, you realize Donnie has learned something from John Wick 4 because this film has a lot of stuff that you say, oh, that's like from John Wick 4. The camera movement, the more sophisticated, the fight, the more sophisticated. It's a good thing. I'm just saying it's a good thing. That's all.
Well, I'm hoping so too. But by the way, another reason why they're getting the Japanese, and another reason why that the streamers, like for Eye for an Eye 2, and all the Swordsmen and other things like that, are taking Japanese subjects, is again to avoid the Chinese Film Bureau. The reason they're doing. I mean, in other words, you can't recognize pure kung fu in any of this stuff. It's sort of like an amalgamation of Korean and Japanese and a little bit of other stuff. And they're also everybody's spending all their time. Like I said, here's my impersonation of somebody who lives in Hong Kong who's over the age of 20. They're always checking to see who's listening because there's always someone there listening. And this is my impersonation of somebody under 20. Don't want to know. Don't bother me. I'm going to keep walking forward.
No,
But
I
Rick-
think they are aware of Donnie's potential. I mean, I think they
Right.
knew that Donnie is a sell overseas because of John Wick, because of Star
Right,
Wars.
right, right.
They don't
There's
care
actually a
about
point-
that.
No. I'm just saying that they seem to be more like this film is like almost like, okay, Donnie, you can do your thing because you Donnie Yen. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
because
right.
because they know he can always move to America and do the John
Right.
Wick,
Well,
do Blind Swordsman 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I understand that. But
Yeah.
please, I'm begging you, Frank, don't think it's because it's successful. They don't care about that.
well, I
It's
was the
all
one that said
political.
that.
It's not
so.
monetary.
Yeah. Well, Frank, I think we have come a long way though, because remember when Donnie Yen's Raging Fire came out several years ago, they were like, "This is the last of this kind of movie." You remember that? Everybody was saying that. We're like, "We're not going to get a movie like this ever again."
Mm-hmm.
So there's some improvement. So I guess Frank's just celebrating the small wins, Rick.
Yeah.
Right,
And
Frank?
all I'm saying
You got to
is that
celebrate the wins.
Right.
Don't
Not only that,
attribute
but
to-
also the fact that even though this, like I said, this one, this is a China co-production. There's no mainland Chinese actor in this film at all. All Hong Kong actors. That was what surprised me also, because normally they require you to have a mainland actor. They require somebody to speak like they must have a mainland actor who speak Mandarin on that. None of this happened here. So,
Yeah.
And do you think that's? I'd love to know why you thought that happened. In other words, the Chinese said, "Yeah, you can do this as long as you don't have anybody from the mainland in it."
no, but that was supposed to be a requirement for a Hong Kong China co-production.
At one. Oh
So,
well, not anymore.
when did they loosen up? I don't know when. I didn't know that.
Well, I know they're loosening up. You can see that from the streaming. They do so many streaming
Right.
movies.
There's traditional kung fu films on streaming more
right.
than
Well,
mainstream.
more
now.
traditional. Yeah, there are
Yeah.
the Tai Chi Master and other things.
But Frank, it's all right. Celebrate the wins, baby. Fall out of the Warriors. Celebrate those wins.
But it's
you
never
know?
about money.
Yeah, celebrate the wins. The fact that that's out there and
Okay, who's
people
next?
are enjoying it. That's all that matters.
Okay, just
Rick,
so you know, I have 10 minutes.
okay, we're almost there. Rick, go ahead.
Go. No.
You want to do
Frank,
your last two, Frank?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do my
You
last.
only
two
have
first.
10 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Go for
so number 2 on my list, Furiosa.
Boom.
Boom, Furiosa again. It's not as good as the last one, but hey, he
That's your ongoing.
that's my ongoing.
Disclaimer.
That's my ongoing.
Not as good as the last one,
No,
but still.
He's
sure.
still making this film, and I'm so glad he's still making Mad Max film.
Sadly, it didn't
He's
do well
great.
enough for him to do another.
Right, sadly, this film did not do well enough to do another, but she was great. The action scene, whatever action sequences we have are great. World building is great. Nice to see Richard Norton in there, and the set design, cinematography. Even though it's a little bit too much CG, as some places, still worthy entry. I know we're probably not going to see Wasteland now, but hey, at least we got this one. So
there you go.
All right.
So what's your last one?
Number one.
Number one was the one
list.
that actually initially I didn't like. Dune 2. I remember when I first saw.
Oh, that's right. You were a little negative on it at first.
Yeah, when I
remember now.
When I saw it the first time, I for some reason I didn't like it that much, and I thought, well, this is not as. I guess it's because I like the world building in the first one so much that here, because like I mentioned before, they set up the story, set up the characters. Now it's almost like going through the motion, and I thought, this is not as good as the first. But then I saw it the second time, and that's when I changed my mind. That's when I was able to appreciate the grandeur, the action, especially that final confrontation. And I remember when I saw that final confrontation the first time, I thought, this is kind of like a whimper sort of thing. But then I watch it again, and oh wow, this all makes sense now. This all ties in with his idea of the Messiah, the prophet, and all that stuff. And it is great, and that nice little cliffhanger of ending. So yeah, I can't wait to see part 3, or I guess they're going to call it Dune Messiah. So yeah.
Yep. Well, before you go, let me tell you my number 2, because this is the movie that gives me hope for the future of kung fu films in China, and that is 100 Yards,
which I have not seen, unfortunately.
Yes, you should see that with all speed, because I'm basically. It is, Zhu Wafang, who did The Final Master, And this is just pure kung fu. There's no Japanese
You
stuff.
took my word.
There's no Korean stuff in this. These are all there. It's filled with fights from beginning to end, but they're all short because, as Zhu Huafeng knows, that if it takes longer than a couple of minutes, it's not real kung fu. Because the whole idea of real kung fu is you end the problem. You do not extend the conflict. You end it. That's what they are taught. And this thing, I'm going to be taking I'm going to make a reel of every single fight scene and see how long it takes. But baby, it is a lot of, not a lot, but some people I've heard of saying, well, I didn't like the plot. And I said, well, because it has a plot. All the kung fu is connected, like all of Zhu Huafeng's movies, with the politics of the kung fu schools. It's all a battle between the kung fu schools. And each one, and filled with weapons, filled with actors, women fighting, old, young, men, women, and it's all real, actual kung fu. How do I know? Because every time I watch it, I see something else. I see something new. I see something different. Oh, I didn't catch that the first time. And also, he's not slowing it down for anybody. Mm-hmm. If you sort of go, what just happened there? I'm saying, good, watch it again. Watch it again. Watch it again. It's like a magic trick. Real kung fu is like a magic trick, except it's actual real, because magic tricks are real too. It's just you don't know what just happened, but these guys were taught. It's an exceptional movie. That gives me hope for the future of kung fu.
But the concerning part of it is this film bombed in both Hong Kong and China. So even
but you're thinking about the money again.
No, not the. I know, I understand. But then, if this film is not successful over there, how can he make another movie like this?
We'll see. Because again, for these guys, it is not about money. They want to progress. If they have a reason, they didn't let his last 4 movies come out. They let this one come out. So, and the question for me, I don't care about, again, I know Hollywood is not about, I know Hollywood and Asia, not about money, it's about ego. But I also know that Haya has 100 yards. So if he gets to do another movie, hopefully Haya will have that too. And also, having lived through the last 50 years of Hong Kong cinema, I'm happy with what I can get.
True. Yeah. And on that note,
you're out of here, buddy.
I'm out of here.
Frank, I love you, brother.
Thank you for tolerating me.
Take care.
Bye,
man. Until next time.
Until next time, guys. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa.
All that.
Happy everything. So
click on the links below to follow Frank on Instagram.
Yep. Bye,
see you next time, brother.
Yeah. See you later, buddy.
Bye.
All right, take care. All right.
And you got to see a kung fu fight between me and Frank. Anyway,
Rick, is 100 yards your number 1?
No, it's my number 2.
Okay.
Do you have more?
Hold on one second. You have your honorable mentions list, right?
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to do that? Okay.
No, we've gone 90 minutes already. Why am I going to do that? If your crowd wants to know them, put out a list. We'll type up a list, put it on your site. Unless you guys all type in that you.
I'll speed read it real quick. I'll speed read before I do my number 1.
It's mine. So I'll do it.
Okay. Before we do our number 1s, then we'll do the honorable mentions.
Okay.
All right. So I have 3 left, and let me go ahead and get to it here.
Yeah.
You stole my word, Rick. You stole my word. Rick said the word pure. And the next 2 entries, to me, represent the genres they're showing, and pure comes to mind. So number 3 for me is 100 yards.
There you go.
And it was interesting, Rick, because it almost felt sometimes like I was watching a play, like I was watching Shakespeare unfold, but with kung fu, like real authentic kung fu. All the fighting is great. The fighting in the end, the finale is insane. And what you mentioned earlier, Rick, I thought at some parts of the fight between the end one-on-one fight, I was like, oh, he's kind of just fucking with him. He's just kind of parrying. He's just kind of fucking with him. And then all of a sudden you see the guy bleeding. And I was like, oh shit, no. He was attacking him. He's bleeding now. Oh my God. but it's so fast you wouldn't notice. You know,
You can
and
just
gotta-
keep watching it over and over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, pure kung fu is 100 yards, and then my next pick for number 2 is pure martial arts. Was it too long? Sure, I'm sure I could have snipped out part of it, but Life After Fighting
Oh yeah.
to me is pure
Oh yeah.
martial arts movie.
Yep.
That 30-minute, Brent Foster's phenomenal, and that 30-minute showdown in the dojo, no CGI, no wires, no fancy camera movement, no ridiculous quick cut editing, no insane shaky cam, just him using everything. He uses taekwondo, he uses grappling, he uses submissions, he uses everything at the end. And it's just a pure martial arts movie. So if you guys want pure martial arts type movie, he saw it yesterday, loved it. There you go. Nice. Yeah, Life After Fighting is has to go on there. And for just pure kung fu, definitely check out 100 Yards. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So before I'll go first, and then we'll end it with your number one.
Maybe not. Maybe
You want me to go?
Yeah, no.
I'm going to do my honorable mentions real quick, and then I'll say my number one.
Yeah, no.
Everyone probably knows what it is already.
Hold on. No.
Okay.
I'll do my number one first because it will be controversial. Better we end on your number one, which I think will be more authentic.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We've already talked about it, but go ahead.
Oh, all right. So what do I do? Do you want my
do your honorable mentions and then your number one movie of the year?
Furiosa, The Roundup Punishment, Baby Assassins 2, Thelma, and City Hunter.
Okay. Now, number one,
My
Rick's
number
pick of the year.
Wicked.
Okay. Why is this controversial?
Well, just as Frank many viewers may not consider it an action movie.
Well, we snuck in some other genre films this year.
I do consider, most of my favorite action movies seem like musicals anyway, and of course, this one is a musical and has action in it, and I thought it was amazing the way it was able to combine the cinematic and the theatrical world in a way that has never really been shown before. John Shute does an amazing job. I'm
sure it's a better musical than Joker 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Absolutely no question. All right, now, so you do yours now.
Okay, all right. Now, there we go. Saverio Takeshi loves the pick. There you go. He loves the pick. All right, my honorable mentions, Godzilla X Kong, Mayhem. I'm cheating a little bit. Mayhem, Furiosa, the horror thriller Exhuma is on there. Yes. Roundup Punishment. Got to represent Don Lee. And Boy Meets World is on my honorable mention.
Boy Kills World.
Did I say Boy Meets World?
Yeah, you said Boy Meets World.
Boy Kills World is another of my honorable mentions. It would have made my top 10, but something was bothering me. When the big reveal happens, damn it. God damn it. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop getting bitten by the kampai from the Lost World. And it kind of ruined it a little bit. But still highly recommend it. It's fun. Definitely check it out. Boy Kills World is on my honorable mention. All right. I know everyone's dying right now. What was it? What bothered you? I don't know. I may or may not do a video on it. Number one now. Number one. It's cliche. You may say it's generic to pick it, but I just can't help myself, and I have to pick. If I can find it here, hold on.
More suspense.
It's cliche. There's already people out there saying it's overrated. They didn't see what the big deal was, but it just really scratched the itch. It had everything I wanted in the film, and it's Twilight of the Warriors.
Right.
Well, then is my number one. It's my number one.
Who cares what other people say?
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, it just. I mean, Samo is what, in his 70s? He's 70, right? I think.
Oh no, he's older. He's much older than 70.
He's in his 70s. He's in his 70s.
He's in his
and you would never
70s.
notice. You would never know.
Yeah.
He was that old because he still threw down. I love Kenji's fight choreography, the mixture with Sammo Hung's team.
That's right.
You know, I love how it went Venom's territory, kid with the golden arm in the end finale fight.
Yeah.
You know, I felt something. I know Frank said it's not really an emotional connection, but I felt something when you see what happens to Louis Koo's character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is Philip Ng's best role. This is his best role, in my opinion, in his career. Like, he really was over the top. So, you know, I'm going to be honest. Life for Fighting was right here. Life for Fighting almost beat Walled In for me, but I gotta, you know, I just had
Well,
a
that's
blast.
because you're badass.
Yes, that's right. But yeah, Twilight of the Warriors, waited 2 years for it and had so much fun. That's my number one movie of the year. All right.
There
All
you
right.
go.
All right, guys. There you go. Latin has to watch it.
Now, that
Thank
wasn't
you
so bad, was it?
No, it wasn't so bad. We got had some fun with a little back and forth between Frank and Rick, which is what happens sometimes.
Yeah,
but we have fun here. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. And Rick, brother,
yeah.
we had a great year at San Diego Comic-Con, the Kung
Yeah.
Fu Extravaganza panel. I'm looking forward to next year's. And hey, all you badasses watching, thanks again so much. That's right. We're putting up the fireworks now, baby. We're saying it now. Happy New Year. That's right. Happy New Year to all of you that have watched the channel over the years, have supported me and Rick, supported the Action Film Autopsy. We love you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing and becoming a channel member and Patreon and supporting us that way. We really appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next year, baby. That's right. We'll see you next year. And love you guys. And hey, all of you badasses watching after this is live, put in the comments below your top 10 best and worst of 2024. I want to check out those lists. So put those in the comments. Thank you so much, guys. And see you next year. And we'll be doing I'll be back for Action Film Autopsy. We'll get Anubis to join us on that one too. So, all right, guys. Love you. Keep watching them Kung Fu movies, baby. Represent the martial arts movies, the horror films, the sci-fi, all that good stuff. And don't forget, tomorrow, join us at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Me and Lady Fat Blood are going to be talking about Joker 2 and a lot of other movies that we've seen in detail. So it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow at 1 p.m. Love you guys, and take care, and see you on the next one.